The first test in the Lions series is essentially upon us. We know both teams. We know how South Africa are going to line out. We know how the Lions team are going to line out. The leaked team was actually correct, and it was good news for some Irish players and bad news for some other. So we're going to get stuck into that now. If you have a view on this or the Lions and you want to get involved, 0879 180 180 is the WhatsApp number. Or, of course, as ever, you can leave a comment on the YouTube stream. Last Friday, Gordon Darcy joined us here on OTB AM to talk about the Lions, but also to launch his 850-kilometre cycle across 4 days in aid of Barrettstown. To donate, you can go to justgiving.com/campaign/Tour de Provinces. We'll tweet the link from the Off the Ball account right now, Tour de Provence. Do share your support as well. The first leg of the cycle was yesterday. Gordon Darcy, good morning to you. How are the legs?
Good morning. Yeah, they're a little bit sore. I got a cramp at about 3 a.m. last night that I haven't gotten since I played like a big test match against England or Springboks or something like that. And it like literally hopped me out of the bed and I was up against the wall, lasted for about 30 seconds and nearly had me in tears. So it's been interesting. I think when I was cycling up a hill somewhere in Ennis and there was no shade, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it was 30 degrees, I was really questioning my life choices at that point.
How far did you do yesterday?
Did 250 kilometres, and we have 50k in the bag today, so we're just on the way to Galwegians now. So we're just out around the corner from Galwegians, where a really, really interesting little thing is happening. The president, Eric Dunn, is actually making one of the under-14s president for the day. So he's going to greet me and bring me in and cycle in with me and do all the presidential duties for the day in Galwegians.
That's cool.
It is very cool. It's one of the coolest things I've heard. And then we're on to Craig's in Roscommon, where there's an army of kids there waiting to say hello.
Have you gone right back into competitor mode over the last little while, Gordon?
Yes. So, yeah, some pretty, I was cramping going up a hill yesterday, and there was every reason to get off and, stop and everything. So that real mental aspect I was hoping was going to come around day 3 came 2 days early. So that's been, it's been fun. And I couldn't sleep last night. I'd say I had 3 hours sleep last night, got up at 5 and we were, my brother is borderline my Sherpa at the moment. He's been amazing. He seems to know exactly when I need water, when I need food, when I need anything. So it's been, the competitive piece is there, but I think there's harder slogs ahead. I'm trying to stick my head in the sand on that.
Have you been doing triathlons and all that kind of stuff since you retired? Have you got into any of the...
No. This is the first thing I've done in a competitive sense. So I've gone to the gym a little bit. But I had really bad shoulder pain issues when I finished. So I had to have 2 shoulder operations over the last kind of 4 years. So this is actually the first time I've been fully fit. I play a little bit of vets tag with Lansdowne. But this is the first time I've physically pushed myself. And it feels good. So you kind of enjoy the pain a little bit. And then you regret it, and then you kind of crave it, and you keep going. So when you're in it yesterday, you're just there going, it's really, really tough, and you get through it. But then when you get through it, there's that little bit of, I did that, got through it, and you kind of push yourself to get through the next day. So 250k today, we've done 50, so 4 more blocks of 50 and we'll be all right.
It's for a brilliant cause, and as I said, Tour de Provinces is
really is.
That's the Just Giving account, and as I said, we'll tweet the link as well. Talk to us a little bit about the Lions team that was named. The leak came out and everybody assumed, this is a leak, or it's one of those WhatsApp things that goes around, but then it actually turned out to be 100% correct. What's your instinct on the team that he's picked in terms of how they're actually trying to play? Is it stereotypical Warren ball that we should expect from the Lions this week, or do they have something up their sleeves?
Nah, they haven't picked a squad for that. Like, I was listening to Ronan on off the ball last night. I think he made some really good points. I would have started Connor as well, but I think when I had nothing else to think about on the road last night, I did think about this. Why have they picked Ali Price, and why have they picked Jack Conan, and why have they picked Hogg? They picked these guys and bigger. They picked them to play at pace and to play at tempo. So it didn't work with the approach they took into that Ireland A game, or the South African A game. And it doesn't mean they throw everything out from that. There was some really good aspects of defence and pieces into it. But I think they're looking to play a tempo from the word go. And I think they've said they wanted to start better than the Springboks. So a conservative approach is probably not pragmatic against these guys. So if you're looking at Ali Price, you're looking at him going, he's picked on form, which is, sometimes you just have to do that in a squad, because maybe players are looking around going, well, listen, he's clearly playing on form, so he deserves the shot, and you kind of have to get that. It's a really double-edged sword from a coach's perspective, because if he goes well, it validates the whole thing and it gives great energy from it. But if he goes into himself, it's he doubles down. So I think they've picked Price, Conan, mobile back rows, Curry to play at pace with them, and rather than trying to change the tempo with having, say, Price and Hogg on the bench, say we're looking to win the game in the first 60 and then see it out in the last 20, rather than, if we're losing with 20 minutes to go, we unload the bench, which is out of what we would associate with Warren Gatland. He likes to keep players on the field for most of the game. So I genuinely think they've gone to go, we're going to throw caution to the wind in a certain aspect, and they're going to go after it with pace and try and score tries.
A couple of interesting points from the Warren Gatland press conference yesterday, Gordon. He said that going back to the South Africa A game last week, in a couple of the scrums towards the end, we felt we really dominated. I think they'll come with a harder approach. It's one aspect where I think we dented their ego, as they didn't have the dominance in the areas they would have liked. Is that the case? Do you think that the Springbok ego has been dented by the end of that South Africa A game?
I think when we reflect back on this tour, the Erasmus Gatland tete-a-tete is going to be fantastic, and we'll see who comes out on top. And I think you guys mentioned this before, that Gatland is used to not having a coach sparring with them. He's used to these people just accepting it and going, oh, we'll do our talking on the pitch. And Erasmus is very much coming back into it. So I think what we have with the Lions is we have Tadhg Furlong in the best tight head prop in the world, playing some of the best rugby that he's been playing, particularly in the set piece. And I think that goes an awful long way, because Paul Wallace is a really good friend of mine, and he just talked about how instrumental the set piece is on the psychological battle between forwards. And if you can get parity, even a step forward against the Springboks, whose game plan is around physicality. And again, we're talking about that the packs are more or less up front. So if you can meet the Springboks, like Courtney Laws is going to be really, really important in all this. So if you can, and Alvin Jones and Tadhg, those kind of players, if they can meet the physicality for the first 50, 60 minutes, and as the Springboks start flagging, because those big men do not like playing in tempo, and you have Hamish Watson, Ty Byrne coming on, Liam Williams to come on, like these guys can really change it. But I think you've got to be able to absorb an awful lot of pressure, but you've got to be able to push back against these guys at certain points. And if that is in the last 30 minutes, geez, great, you'll take it. If you take parity for 50 minutes, and then the last 30 you start to get a massive upper hand when they're beginning to flag, you take that any day of the week.
Gatland was also saying that they had a bit of bone on bone yesterday. That's how he described the training session from 2 days ago. Is there anything you can do in training to prepare yourself for that first hit from a test Springbok?
Nah, like the first hit it's in your head from Monday, and while and there's still a throwback to the old way of training with a lot of these in the squad, particularly from Alwyn Jones. And I think a captain would probably feel a little bit of that and go, listen, we just need a bit of bite in training. And you run the risk with that, and that is and it's always a calculated risk. But they obviously said they wanted it, so they went in and did it and got into it. That just sharpens the focus. But those hits, it's all up here. How ready are you for this confrontation, and how ready are you for the battle? And you probably see an insight into that. And Ronan talked a really great point, that say you'd love to be in the camp to see what that bone on bone looked like. you know, Tom Curry, who's he getting into from the other side? Toby Faletau, players like that. What are they doing? I think it is really, it's definitely is useful, and it definitely plays a role. You're sitting there, I'd say, as a coach, fingers crossed, going, please somebody don't get injured.
The traditional view here of Warren Gatland picking these Lions teams in the past was that he was biased towards the Welsh side, that he was also at the same time the coach of, and maybe he was back then, but now that he's free from the shackles of being the Welsh coach, the outrage in Wales about the fact that Faletau's not on the team, that they don't have the winger as well, it's like they begin to see a little bit about how we used to feel about it. It kind of just reveals that Gatland is the most ruthless of them all, right?
Yeah, but like, I think ruthless is the wrong word. I think it's a guy who's picking a team to win, and you know, there's a huge hindsight bias on all of this. When you look back and you go, you know, we look at when John Davies got picked for the final test, and you know, you can argue Brian would have done everything that John Davies would have done, but because they won the test match in Australia, he gets the big tick. And you know, his selections, they're not just 50-50. You know, he's got that, you know, and Declan Kidney was a guy who had that ability to pick the right players for the right battle. I think I think the squad he picked it's a very condensed squad, and I think he did try to play an awful lot of players into form, Connor being one of them, and Toby Faletau was definitely one of them, and I just don't think it worked. So he got to a certain point and went, you know, here's the guy, Jack Conan, he's playing well, he's playing on the front, he's doing what I want him to do. Toby's my guy, but he's just not there yet. I can't risk it. And that's what you want from a coach. My worry with the winger piece is I think Duhan van der Merwe is going to go missing in big matches, and I'm not sure he's there for. I would have had Zamet or sorry, my brain is gone there. Or
Elliot
Josh
Daly.
Adams.
Okay, or Elliot Daly on the wing, like.
No, I like as the thing has gone along. I at some stage last week I went definitely Henshaw and Daly.
Right.
What Daly gives you at 13 is so Harris. I think we talked about this last week. If Harris's passing was a little bit more accurate, I think he could have been in there. But it's that attention to detail, like, you know, in centre, one of the particularly at 13, that ability to distribute, sharp, quick, get the ball away in one step accurately is so valuable at this level, and Daly does that time and time again. But Harris is a much more all-rounded 13, but his passing game lets him down. If he had, say, Daly's, you know, ifs and ands, if he had Daly's passing skill, he probably would have started. But I think Daly, he offers way more. He offers much more distribution and just a little bit of rugby IQ in that 13 slot. All
right, tell me who's going to win.
Like, you know, I think I was laughing a lot more confident until I listened to Ronan last night, and I think all the points he made, the lack of game time, everything like that. There's an awful lot of reasons that the Lions can win, but they need an awful lot to go right. So, like, I don't see more than 3 to 5 points either way. My heart says the Lions, but my head says South Africa.
All right, Gordon. So where exactly are you in the country? You're outside Ennis, 50 kilometres?
No, I've just come through the burn. So
right.
I was really hoping I was going to get through the burn before I had to take this call, because I was some ponies and some brick walls were pretty much the only thing there. There wasn't a cell phone tower for a couple of miles. So we're just about 15k outside of Galway. We're going to make a quick hop into Galway, and then on to Craig's in Roscommon.
And if anybody wants to donate, as I said, it's for a great cause. They can check out your Twitter, and we've just tweeted the link as well. It's justgiving.com/campaign/Tour de Provinces. Best of luck, Gordon. Thanks a million for joining us. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
That's On Your Bike Gordon hashtag as well. You can get it on Twitter if you need more details on that. But it is all a native Barrettstown, 850 kilometres in 4 days. How far did you, what was the most you've ever done in a cycle?
Cumulative over 4 years. Might have got to the 850.
Just to remind you, of course, as well, as part of the 9 matches that we're broadcasting from the British and Irish Lions tour of South Africa on Off the Ball, we're bringing you live commentary of Saturday's test against the Springboks. Our Lions coverage is brought to you in association with Vodafone, lead partner of the British and Irish Lions. It's Brian O'Driscoll, former Lions captain, alongside Neil Tracy in the commentary booth this weekend for OTB. Kick-off is at 5 o'clock. There'll be pre-match and post-match, and indeed, as Gordon Darcy was talking about there, Ronan O'Gara was on last night, and you can hear him talking to Richie on the OTB Sports app. Just search in the podcast feed, search OTB Rugby and subscribe to that. And anytime we're covering rugby, if you turn your notifications on, you'll get Ronan O'Gara and Brian O'Driscoll and Alan Quinlan and Keith Wood and everything else that we do.